Okay, having covered that, I will start by saying hello. My name is Olivia Morris. I have the video on briefly. I'm going to turn it off here because I am not the focus. The content is the focus, but I just want to say hi so you can see that there's a real person back here. And let us go ahead and begin. Today's topic, we are talking about Google Chrome extensions. So this is a part of the MetroNet Learnabout series. The Learnabouts are a series of topics where we take one topic and we teach you more about it in detail. John is asking in the chat, will slides be shared? Yes, they will. It's actually a slide in the slide deck, so I wouldn't forget. So you will see that towards the end of the presentation. So the Learnabout series, we talk about different topics, and this month we are doing Chrome extensions, and we're going to talk about them in detail. And there is so much content here. I am going to go fairly quickly because I want to touch on as many as I possibly can, but I will be sharing all of this content with you, and this will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch it again at your leisure or look at the information in detail. If you have questions at any time, go ahead and pop those into the chat or Q&A functions. I will address them at the end. I may catch one as we go, but as I'm presenting, I don't often notice if somebody pops into the chat. So if I don't notice, I promise I will get to them at the end. I will save time for that. So again, my name is Olivia Morris. I am the program manager for MetroNet. If you are unfamiliar or not from the Twin Cities area, MetroNet is a multi-county, multi-type library consortium. We serve libraries in the Twin Cities, that's Minnesota metropolitan area. So we have a 7-county metro area, and we support libraries of all types. So public, academic, special, and school libraries are our specialty, and we provide programming, training, events, and funding for libraries in our region. So this series is part of that, and I know a lot of you are not from the Twin Cities area that signed up, and that's okay. We are happy to share our information with everybody. So welcome, thanks for being here, and let's go ahead and get started. What is a Google extension or Chrome extension? I call them both. Technically, they would be called Google Chrome extensions if you want to give the full name, but that's a mouthful. So Google extension, Chrome extension, or just plain extension would be fine. And what they are is just small programs that customize your browsing experience. So these are going to work if you are using the Chrome web browser. If you are not in the Chrome web browser, you will not find this helpful. If you are looking to transition to Chrome and looking to make it more user-friendly, or if you use it daily and just wish it was a little bit better than it was, these will help you immensely. So think of like apps for your iPhone or for your Google phone, whatever it is. That's essentially what we're talking about here. We're going to take a look at the App Store and help make your browsing experience a little more user-friendly. So the list of extensions is right here. You'll find it at bit.ly/extensions-webinar. I'm going to leave that up there for just another second so you can all see that. And here is what it looks like. Okay. That link will take you to this, and you will see the complete list of extensions, and anything that is in bold, excuse me, will be discussed during this presentation. Anything that is not bolded is just something that I think is a useful extension, but I simply don't have time to cover everything. So it just may be something you want to take a look at yourself. So that is the complete list of extensions there. Okay, so next thing we need to talk about is how do you find these extensions? Where do they come from? Well, Chrome has a web store. It can be accessed. I'm going to show you. Chrome.google.com. Pulls up the Chrome web store. I don't actually want Google Chrome. I don't know why it's defaulting to this. It's worked earlier when I did it. Well, let's just do a search for Chrome web store because I know that works. Chrome.google.com. You see how that's it must be the HTTPS instead of HTTP. That must be the difference between them. So the Chrome web store looks like this, and you will be able to find in here themes, apps, and games. If you're looking for extensions, that's what it defaults to. You can select any of these, but you would simply type in the title of the one that you are interested in from the list. So for instance, let's do Midnight Lizard, which I will be talking about later, but it's a catchy name and it just popped into my brain. So you find Midnight Lizard, you select it. You'll notice it already said added on mine. If you do not have it added right here, it will say add to Chrome. You select that and it will download it to your computer. And then this is also where you can go if you want to get rid of it. You can come in here and remove it if it's something that you don't use and it's just taking up space. So that's the Chrome Web Store, and that is how that works. And I have sorted these into categories to make it a little more user-friendly. Some of them I am going to demo, some I will just talk about because we have a limited amount of time and I want to make sure that we get through everything. But if you do have questions on a specific thing, please go ahead and ask that in the chat and I'll try to keep an eye out for those. So the first one up is Boomerang for Gmail. And I'm actually going to show you this one because, well, because I can. I have my Gmail account right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that open. I just shut it. One more time. Let's do that again. I want to close this one. And I don't know if you were paying attention there, if you noticed that my tabs are jumping around when I open them, and that is due to one of the extensions that I'll be talking about later in the presentation. So if you did notice that and think, weird, why are her tabs moving around like that? I will show you why in a little while. So Boomerang works in a couple of different ways, and I am going to open this email from Minitex, our fine friends at Minitex, who is a library consortium at the University of Minnesota, who do a lot of great things for the state of Minnesota library services. So here is an email that was sent to me from Minitex, and if I were to reply to this email, and it pulls up my replies, you will notice that I have the traditional send box down here. We're going to close that warning because I'm not worried about sharing things. The traditional send box and attachments right here, but then also because I have Boomerang installed, I have this secondary line below, which has send later, a reminder. I can track this message and I can set up a meeting with this. So this is a Boomerang operation. So if I need a reply, if I'm sending out a reply and I'm expecting a reply back, I can ask it to remind me. If I don't get a reply, then I can follow up on that further, or I can schedule it for later. Those are the primary things that I use it for. I don't use it for tracking, but if you wanted to, you can track who has read, if the message has been read. But so primarily I use this. You can also use it when you are sending or composing a message. It does the same thing. So it's a productivity tool. One of the easiest ways I've found to control your email when it gets out of control, or if you have so many emails coming in and you know you've sent out responses and you're going to need something back and you just don't want to have to track them down, use the reminder feature. It's very helpful. It'll pop up if you don't get a response and tell you you have to follow up on this. So saves quite a bit of time. Also in productivity is the Save Email to Drive from Cloud HQ. And that does exactly what it sounds like. It's a very descriptive name, not clever perhaps, but definitely descriptive. Save email to drive. So if you've ever had an email message and you wanted to save it for the future, or you're going to need it for whatever purpose that you might need an email message for outside of your email, I know you've all been there. Everyone has. You've needed an email for something. This is a way to take your email and simply save it. So if you install it, there is a button then that appears in your email message that says save. And I'm not sure if I have it installed right now. Let's look, since it's in here. So Boomerang. I don't see this one installed. And this would be, honestly, not that I don't think it's useful, simply because I have so many extensions installed on my computer. I can't quite manage them all. It gets to be a little out of control. So I do take some of them down. Here's a Cloud HQ logo though. Oh, so if I were to install it there, I could run it. But essentially what it does is it gives you a little icon along this tab here. And I believe it looks like a cloud. And then you would click on that and it might be on that save to, and it allows you to save it to your Google Drive. So that entire message, including any replies that are in that chain, anything that appears in that message can then be saved into your Google Drive. If you've ever tried to do that without this, they often come up as gibberish. They don't translate well. So this bypasses that and allows you to save that as a formatted email so that you can read it as well. Next up is Rescue Time. Just a brief note along this. So you see the address bar here, and then to the right of it, you see all these tiny little icons. These are my extensions. This is what they look like. Each extension represents a different tool that we are talking about today. And then in this puzzle piece, you can see the full list of extensions I have, which is quite a bit longer than what fits there on my address bar. So I'm pinning ones that I'm using on a regular basis. Those are pinned up here. And then I can move those around into the order that I want them. But if I don't have it pinned, I have to jump down into here to find it. And the one that we're going to look at right now is Rescue Time. So Rescue Time is a productivity tool. So what it does is it tells you, it tracks your time on the internet, or on the computer, I guess, not the internet. How much time are you spending browsing the web versus how much time are you spending in tools like Google Docs or Google Slides or your email. So it's be able to track how much your productivity is and how effective it is. So I'm apparently 69% productive on average, which is a little, usually I'm 68. So I'm actually above average. I'm going to blame that on you guys because I was working hard to make sure I was ready for you today. So it's just a quick way to see your productivity, if that's your thing. I know a lot of people like the statistics, especially in the library world. So I wanted to make sure to include something like that. I don't use it myself very much. I occasionally glance at it just to see, but it's not something that I worry about a ton. So the next one, oh, sorry, I bumped ahead there. The next one is Stay Focused. And Stay Focused is one that people like me who just like to bounce around and look at things on the internet. Have you heard the phrase, follow that down the rabbit hole? Okay. That's irritating. Okay, if it's an automatically installed, why are you? Okay, so apparently it's really, really different than it used to be. It used to pop up a little box with all of these different options. So what it does is it gives you the ability to block certain sites. So if you find that while you're working, you tend to drift over to your Facebook page and spend time there that you really wish you weren't spending because you're not getting your work done as efficiently, you can actually block that or give yourself a certain amount of minutes per day in order for that to work. You can set which days this will be operational, what hours this will be out. So you can set it to be only during your work hours. You can only look at Instagram or Facebook or BuzzFeed or whatever your guilty pleasure is for 10 minutes a day, or you can make it so it's completely blocked and you cannot look at it during work hours. So it's a way of helping you manage your productivity and stay on task. So that is what it does. It's pretty much follow the instructions, reset time loud. Remember, some people ask me the nuclear option. So the nuclear option, it gives you the ability to basically block the entire internet so that you cannot do anything except for focus on the Google slide presentation you're working on, etc., whatever your particular thing is. So that is an option for you to stay focused. Pocket is right here. That is one that I do use more and more. And what Pocket does is it allows you to save. Let's go ahead and click it open. It allows you to save articles or web pages that you want to read later. So if you find that you have these articles that you come across in the normal course of working and you wish that you had time to read them right there, or you find that you're bookmarking and then your bookmark gets out of control, this is just a way to save them in one place so that they are not becoming overwhelming for you. I know people who have had email folders full of them. So right now, apparently I've just saved my email to Pocket, which I didn't mean to. I was actually going to open up and here, get my list. So you can see what my Pocket page looks like once I save something. And the saving was simply just clicking that little pocket. You saw how quickly it saved my email, which I can easily get rid of right here because I do not want to save my email sign in to that. So if I find an article that is interesting to me as I'm browsing, I can just, while I'm on that page, hit this little pocket icon and it saves it right here. And then I can come back in and read that. And it also gives you these little guides letting you know about how much time you're going to spend on this. You have the ability to tag these so you can group them into particular regions. You can save them for later, star them, it's a favorite, share them, and delete them. It's very, very easy to use, very functional. And just one that I found to be one of the more user-friendly, and then everything's in one place. They have a mobile app as well for Pocket, so you can get it on your phone. So if you find that you're the type of person when you're sitting at the dentist's office, you don't want to read that 20-year-old highlights magazine and you'd rather read something you're interested in, you can pull it up right there on your phone and access the things that you've been saving for later. So that is Pocket. And the next one is AnyDo. So AnyDo is actually new to our list. I had a number of people in previous sessions tell me that they wanted a good to-do list. So I did some research. I'm not much of a to-do list person. I kind of do a mental to-do list, which I found to be not that great for productivity. But Todoist was the one that had come up, and that is on the extensions list. I did not remove it. So the one I'm talking about is right here, Todoist. That was one that had kept popping up as this is the best online extension for to-do lists, et cetera, et cetera. So I downloaded it when I had done this previously and I tried it and I just wasn't wild about it. And that could be a personal choice, which is why I did not remove it. Instead, I found AnyDo, which is the same concept. But to me, I just like its layout a little better and the functionality of it. It suits more how I do a to-do list. Another thing is that you'll see on the to-do list that I have showing right now, it crosses them off. On Todoist, it was always deleting things. When I marked them as done, they were deleting and you could still access them, but you had to go to another folder and pull up things that you had done before. This crosses them off, so it's more like an actual list. Once I do it, it is crossed off, but I can still see it. So if it's things that I do on a regular basis, I can then go back in and re-add this to my list and put a new date on it, etc. So it just, you can do it by date. You can add them in. So if I know I need to do something tomorrow, I just hit the plus sign and then it's saying insert a new task. And then I just type in what I want to do tomorrow. So we'll just type in demo. And then just like that, tomorrow I now have to do demo. I can go into demo and I can make changes to it if I need to. But it's really quick and easy to use. And to me, that's what an electronic to-do list needs to be, because if it's more complicated than that, I'm not going to use it and I won't keep track. So I've been trying to be very diligent about using this one to see if it really holds up. And so far I'm like about a month and a half using it regularly and I find it very useful. So it keeps track and it lets me know. So that's a little 5 icon right here. And that shows me the undone things. There are 5 left on my list right now that need to be completed. So that is, let's jump over here, AnyDo. And why are you still on my screen? You should go away. Huh. I do not know for the life of me how to get rid of this. Isn't that strange? I've never seen that stick on the page like that before. And it's only on the one screen. Maybe I will come over here and click it there. And that doesn't make it go away either. Well, I'm not wild about that. Let's close it. See if that did anything. It did not. Well, I apologize. I'm not really sure why that is still on the screen or why, like I said, it has not done that before. So boo Pocket. Yeah, clicking remove, I see that, thank you. But I see it doesn't seem to remove and save. It's doing the same thing. It's like adding and de-adding, and yet it's not going away, even when I open it up. Oh, okay, I don't know what I just did there. I clicked, like I highlighted the whole thing and it went away. So let's just pretend that I meant to do that. So it looked really, really official. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I just did AnyDo, the to-do list. So you can take a look at that one. And then the next one on here is the Google Results Previewer. I put this under productivity because I feel like that is what it is meant to be. I don't know if it really counts as productivity or not, but let's do a Google search for dogs, because why not, right? Dogs. So the Google Results Previewer, when it's installed, does the following. When you hover over, come on. Not going to work on the National Geographic. You know, it's the thing with doing these live. When I tested this like an hour ago, the search I did was dogs. These were the exact results that I got because I wanted to make sure everything was working, and the results previewer popped right up and it worked perfectly. And now nothing. I've got nothing happening. So and I appreciate you bearing with me. I know it's nice when things move very smoothly. And now I don't even see it on here. Maybe that's the problem. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because I said we have a lot to get through, but interesting. Let's try this one. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on that if it doesn't work. So what it used to do, and I will just tell you, is when you would hover over this, rather than click on it and see if this is a site, it actually gave you a preview, like it brought up a preview of the screen. So you could see what it looked like before opening it. So it's just saved you the time of clicking on a site. If you were looking for specific information, it just helps by doing that. So sorry, I don't know what was happening with that one, but clearly it is now anti-productive, so I'm gonna have to move it off of this list. The second group of category is education. So some of these you may have seen already. First was the Britannica Insights. So when I did this search for dogs, on the right-hand side, my computer has this Britannica Insights tab. So because I have this installed, it gives me a result based on what I have searched for. So I've searched for dogs, and it's basically showing me the Britannica Encyclopedia entry for dog, Merriam-Webster definition for dog, some images for dog, a Wikipedia page for dog, and then some advertising below. So it just kind of tailors, gives you like a one-stop shopping for anything that you could possibly need. And, you know, obviously it doesn't have to be dogs. It can just be just about anything that you put in there to search for. And here we have tigers, information about tigers down the right-hand side of my screen. So it's just a quick, if you're just doing a quick search for information, it's a good way to just get a brief at a glance, and they're all usually very well-respected sources that you're looking for there. So can be very useful. So that one is Britannica Insights. We have Cite This For Me, which I used to have right here, but I do not seem to have it right here anymore. Where did it go? Cite This For Me is right here. So Cite This For Me is I need to be on something that has a website. Now, obviously, I don't want to encourage you, let's do Smithsonian's National Zoo. Why not? So if we open up this website and then we're going to take information from this and we want to have it cited, we can hit the Cite This For Me, and it pops up this little websiter. And it gives you, it defaults to APA, but you can select whatever citation style that you prefer. And it will give you the citation for this web page. So if you teach citations and you find that getting students to do them is like banging your head against a wall, try something like this. It's not the same as having them figure out how to write them themselves, but honestly, why reinvent the wheel? If it can be done in an easier fashion, believe me, when I was in college and grad school, I would have loved something like this instead of that spiral bound notebook that I had to carry with me everywhere and constantly look up how to cite things. This would have been great. And I don't know that they're 100% perfectly accurate, but they're pretty good from what I have seen in looking at this. So I would definitely recommend this as an easier way to perform citations. Creative Commons. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Creative Commons. I am a huge fan of the Creative Commons, which is an online repository of information that people have created that they want to share. So instead of things being saddled under heavy copyrights and things like that, this is a group of people who want their information to be shared amongst the others. If you create it, you want someone else to use it for their own purposes, you put it in the Creative Commons. So this gives you a quick way to search the Creative Commons. There are some filters that are built in here. And if you've never used this, this probably looks like gibberish, but they do have these little handy icons over here explaining what they mean. So this one here is attribution. So if you find a license that says this, if you use it, they just are asking that you please give them attribution. Say, I found this thanks to John Smith, whomever it is. So they all stand for something like that. And you can read about what those are over here. Credit the creator, so it's attribution and no derivatives or modifications. So they are allowing you to use it if you give them credit and if you don't make any changes to their original product. So there are some different categories like that, and you can search for those. If you need them to be used commercially, where you might be making money off of them, you need to select that. Or if you do have to modify or adapt it to your own purposes, you can do a selection there. And then what sort of file type you're looking for. You want a photograph, you want illustrations, etc. And then you can search for something in there and find what you are looking for that you can then reuse freely and comfortably. So I didn't do a search for dog. And I didn't select any of the filters. I just want you to see what the search would look like. Please wait a second. Take your time. It's not like I'm running a live webinar here or anything. Oh my, I don't know what is even going to happen there. But as I said, if you're not familiar with the Creative Commons, first of all, you should get familiar with them. They're just such a phenomenal resource. So creativecommons.org, and you can visit their site here. And you can find out all sorts of information, like how do you put your information, how do you put your work on here, share your work, what do you want to do if you want to use it, what do they do? Searching is right here. That's what the shortcut is supposed to do. It was, of course, not working because why would it? Just seems to be one of those days. It's like spring is here and nothing wants to work possibly. Just so you know that down here, the search the website literally does that. It does not actually search the content that has been uploaded. There is a page that explains what all of the licenses are. It might be under this particular one. Yes. So it shows you what the icons are, gives you the name of them, and then explains what it means, what you are welcome to do with it as well. So like I said, if you haven't used the Creative Commons in the past, takes a little time and look at that because it is a really great resource. And the extension just gives you a shortcut to finding what you're looking for without having to go to the site. So Dyslexia Friendly, which I'm not going to demonstrate, but I will just tell you it is one that it does exactly what it says. If you have a page that needs to be read on the internet, I'm told that for persons with dyslexia, reading on a screen can actually be far more difficult. It makes it more challenging. So this app limits those challenges. It highlights certain things that are challenging for those with dyslexia. I don't know enough about that. I'm not going to speak to it, but it is what I'm told very, very, very helpful for people who are reading with dyslexia on any sort of screen or device. So having that, so you would simply navigate to anything that you wanted on the screen and then click the dyslexia and it will change the look of the screen, making it more readable. Read aloud, similar in that it will read the page to you, simply clicking it. And then it has settings. So much like your phone, you can make it sound like a British woman or a British man or Australian. You can speed up and slow down the pace at which they read, and you can turn on or off highlights. So it will either highlight the individual words on the page as it's reading them to you, or phrases or sentences, or you can turn that off if you'd rather not do that. So, so that is the read aloud function. So those are both, really good adaptive features that are available through the extensions store. And next up is Screencastify. If you have to record or make a video presentation, Screencastify is great for that. I'm going to show you, there it is, what it looks like when it pops up. So here's the thing. Everything that I am showing you today is a free extension that can be gotten through the store. All of them are free. Some of them have the ability to upgrade to further. This is one of them. Screencastify is, they want you to pay money for this. So they only give you a 5-minute limit per video on the free version. So if you need to make a video that's longer than 5 minutes, this will not help you. You'll have to find another resource for that. But if you are just looking to make a quick tutorial or something that you want to add to your website, this is a great way to do it. So you can hit record, you can tell it what you want it to do. So webcam only, if you just want a video of yourself speaking into a camera, your desktop, so it sees the whole screen, or your browser tab, if you just want it to do, you know, if all I'm doing is this presentation and that's all I wanted to see, I could run it on that. See, now I bumped it away. Let's go back one more time. So you do that, you have the microphone, the webcam, which you can turn off if you are not going to be showing your own face and you just want it to record the screen. You can do that, and you hit record, walk through your presentation, and then hit stop. And when you hit stop, it will give you cancel, because I do not want to record that. When you hit stop, it'll give you the ability of where you can save that video. So you can save it to your Google Drive, or you can send it to your email, or there's a couple of other options as well. It's really easy to use. It requires almost no preparation, just talk through your presentation, but it has to be 5 minutes or less. Otherwise, you need to upgrade or find a different source. So that one is Screencastify. And the last one is Library Extension, which is quite truthfully probably one of my all-time favorites. And we are going to visit my friends at Amazon.com for this one, because I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I'm trying to think of a book that's pretty popular. How about Eat, Pray, Love? That's something that people like, right? Or at least it was a few years back, might not be today. So Eat, Pray, Love. And the library extension, what it does is it gives you the ability, making sure we're all set here. So if I were looking at this particular book, the library extension is supposed to pop up on my screen. It's taking just a second, so I'm just filling the time. There we go. On the right-hand side of the screen, when I search for a book, it doesn't have to be on Amazon. This works on Barnes & Noble. It will work on the web if you search and then pull up the book. So if you're looking at like Google Books or Kobo or something like that, it'll work on those as well. But you have to, like I did here, you can't just search for the book. You have to be looking at the page where you can purchase the book. And essentially what it's doing is, if you, in the icon, which is a little stack of books right here, you saw earlier, I was double checking, you come in here in advance and you put in what library systems you look at. So I use St. Paul, Dakota, Hennepin, Washington, Anoka, and Ramsey counties, which are all in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. I use all of those when I search, so I have them all in here. And you can see that the audio version and the ebook version, there's like no print versions. These are the print versions of it right here. That one is. Must have been one up here too. Yeah. So these are, it's just telling you what is in stock. So it's basically saying, do not buy this from Amazon. You can get it right now from your library for free. It's even available. It's got these green check marks. And if it's not available, you can actually, this would say request. So you can hit a request if it's not available as well. So it's a really great way to just find out if you forget to check your library and you're looking for a book, it'll prompt you to remember that the library is a great way to go. So that is the library extension. All right. This category is called security. And there are not as many in here. And that is primarily due to the fact that I think computers come pretty much built with security these days. It's not as like when we first got computers and they needed to buy like the Norton antivirus for $100 a month, it felt like, I mean, it just seems like that isn't, and I don't know, maybe that's because I'm on Chromebooks and I'm also in the iPad world. But it seems like I don't really need to do anything like that anymore. However, there are still things that can be improved, and that's where some of these come in. The first one here is Ghostery, which is not along there, so it must be in here. I recognize it's not along there because it looks like a little ghost. So there's Ghostery. So what Ghostery does is it's keeping track as I navigate. If there are trackers, and trackers are those little bots that follow you around. And if you're looking for something, then the next time you search, there's going to be an advertisement that reflects your previous searching habits. And it will help block those so that the internet isn't moderating as closely what you're looking at, because frankly, it's not really their business what I'm looking at and what I'm interested in. So Ghostery helps prevent that. It's not 100% foolproof, but it does a pretty good job. And all the actual icon does is give you the information about it, And then there's some details in here, which if you're a computer person might be of more interest to you. There's nothing on this page because it's a Chrome. Might be more if I went to one like this or one like this. But they don't really require you to do anything with this. Once you do Ghostry, once you install it, it simply just runs in the background and it does its thing, and you really have to never pay attention to it ever again. So that's, I think, what makes it one of my favorites, is that you just install and then forget it ever occurred. The only reason I ever look at it is if I'm doing this presentation and I have to show it to people, but there's nothing that needs to be done. It just runs, it just does its thing. So Ghostry is fantastic. HTTPS everywhere. If you are not familiar, it was always HTTP for web addresses. And then it was found that there are a lot of web addresses that need to be a little more secure. They need a higher level of security. So they started adding this S, so HTTPS. And some websites have it automatically, some do not. This gives you the ability to make every website you visit HTTPS, regardless of whether they already are or not. So basically, if it's not an HTTPS site, it's just an HTTP site, it will add an additional layer of security every time you visit by having this installed. Much like Ghostry, all you have to do is install it. Just put it in and then it runs, and then you get those HTTPS sites. So that's what that one does. Then we have LastPass, which I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show you of LastPass, just thinking out loud. It always prompts you for your master password. The idea behind LastPass is it's a one-stop password protected site. So most of you know that your computer will save your passwords, but they're not overly secure. If you can get into my computer, you can usually get into my passwords then. LastPass adds their own layer of security and only require you to keep track of the one password, which is your master password for the site, which of course you have to type correctly. Second time's a charm. And they're not going to let me show it to you. So I'm just going to explain this to you really briefly. So really what it does is that you see the icon right here. It's this box with the 3 dots and then what looks like a cursor behind it. The icon for the site is red. The yellow is if they're informing you of some change or something that needs to be addressed, much like what you see on my screen right here. And then black or gray, I guess, if it's non-operational because you're not logged in. It does log it out periodically so that it doesn't just stay open all the time. And that's a layer of security as well. So you will have to remember that master password and put that in fairly regularly, depending on how long you use it. And it is considered to be one of the more secure. The reason we can't look at it now is because I actually recently switched to LastPass for my mobile device. So I find that I'm using my phone more and more as my main computer rather than my desktop or my laptop, which I am currently on for this presentation. I am running it via the laptop. But for LastPass, I wanted to use it on my phone and I didn't want to pay for an advanced license, which would give me ability to use all of it. So I had to decide between having it operational on my laptop or my phone, and I switched it to my mobile device. So right now, if I want to view my LastPass passwords, they are in my mobile device, not here. So that's why you can't see them. I could, of course, switch it back, but there's no reason for it because I'm not going to show you my passwords anyway. But really what it does is that then if you have it installed, anytime you do it, it's going to pop up. Anytime you type in a password, it's going to pop up a little box saying save to LastPass. You click that and it saves it into your LastPass account so that you have it for further use. It saves the username and the web address, just like you would on Google Passwords. It doesn't operate any differently. It just requires you to have that one master password. So that is how that one works. And the last one under security always makes me chuckle. It is not a security feature at all, even a little bit, although I suppose it could maybe be considered one in the slightest sense. Mostly it's just for fun. It's called the panic button, and I keep it right up here on the very first icon, the panic button. And here's what it does. I'm going to show you. You'll notice when I hit that panic button, everything went away. So really what its purpose is if you're looking at stuff at work and you're not supposed to be, and then somebody walks behind you, you could click that and make all your stuff go away to protect so no one can see the stuff that you're looking at. But you can also use it to hide, for hiding information. So I guess you could kind of consider it security, but it's more tongue in cheek than anything else. I just thought it's good to know. I mean, we've all been there. Let's not be shy about it. We've all looked at stuff on our computers that we probably shouldn't, and then been embarrassed when somebody walks behind us and goes, "What are you looking at?" It happens. This way you can prevent it with the panic button. So that is what that one is for. I'm going to jump back to the presenter view here. See, unfortunately, it resets everything when I do the panic button, but small price to pay for you guys to see that fun little extension. All right, so that is security. Our last group here is utilities. So these are just ones that I think are very useful. And I wanted to make sure and include them. So Bitly, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Bitly. If you are not familiar with Bitly, you actually saw it in action right here when I did the list. So Bitly is a link shortener. That is its purpose. If you've ever copied a URL and sent it to somebody, and it's like a paragraph long of squiggles and gobbledygooks and letters and numbers and special characters and blah, Bitly will shorten that down to something manageable. So using it, so I'm going to go here back to my email. If I wanted to create a link for this, I would click my Bitly icon, and it pulls up this little box on the side, and it gives you a URL that it creates for your page. Okay, so the link to this exact page is Bitly, and then the string of letters and numbers, which is considerably shorter. But even in the free version, you can customize that at any time to whatever you want it to be. So email exclamation point. I don't know why I would want it to be that, but, and then clicking the save, something went wrong. It doesn't like email for demo. And then it saved it. And then up here, it changes it so that now this is the Bitly. And then you can copy it, share it, or create a QR code, but you must have an upgraded plan to do that. If you are on the free Bitly, you can't use that, only share and copy. So share and copy, and you can make them say whatever you want. So Bitly / which is how I got Bitly / extensions webinar. So you can see the list. So very, very easy to use, lets you create, not the last one, we have just for fun after this. You can create very user-friendly URLs. So that's what Bitly does. The extension manager is, I had been keeping that up here, and I don't know where it went. So I will find it here in my super long list of extensions. And I do not see it. It's actually an extension called Extension Manager. I don't see it. Really what it did, the Extension Manager, is it just gave me the ability to organize my extensions a little more fluidly. It was not something that I would call really necessary for using the extensions, but some people like that ability to do it. I think that what Google Chrome browser allows is just as good. I can pin them here or unpin them here. I can click on them to access them, and then I have this little sidebar which gives me some more information. So I can manage it, I can change it, I can remove it from Chrome, which is all the Extension Manager did. So it really isn't as necessary, but in case you wanted to know. Smart Mute is a new one. I just added that this morning because someone sent me an email yesterday. No, yesterday was Sunday. Friday it must have been. They sent me an email on Friday saying, this is a cool extension that I saw. And I thought, oh my gosh, just in the nick of time for this presentation. So I looked at it this morning and I added it. What it does, Smart Mute, is if you have it on, you have it installed and it is active. If you are opening up tabs, have you ever had those tabs and you open it and then it has one of those like autoplay videos? So like you're sitting there talking to someone, you open a tab and then suddenly there's sound blaring out of a tab. Smart Mute fixes that. It mutes everything automatically. So if you are going to watch a YouTube video, you have to unmute it. So you have to force it to be loud. So I think it's just beautiful. I haven't done a lot with it in practice, but it seems to just run very simply and quickly. And I'm going to show it to you real quick in here. Where'd you go? Smart Mute. There it is. One of the reasons I wanted you to see it is because the icon, when I searched for it, there was a couple different ones that had this same or very similar names. And it's this one with the teal and purple and fuchsia icon that's a circle with the zigzag line in the middle of it. So that was the one that was recommended and that I've tried. It's not to say the others wouldn't work as well. They certainly might. Be brave, go ahead and give one a try and let me know if it does work. But pulling it up, this is what it looks like. If it's on, enable smart mute, it will do its job. If I were to open up a page and it's YouTube or just a page with ads on it that make noise, it will mute them so you're not hearing that and they're not running sound in the background for me. So that's all it does. Very easy. I love the ones that I don't have to do anything. They just help me without my assistance. Google Calendar, if you are a Google user, you can get an extension for the calendar and put it on there. I used to be a very heavy Google Calendar user, putting all of my things on there, but since I've been using AnyDo, I've been putting my things on there instead so that they were tied to my to-do list. So it was helping me schedule around the events that I needed to do. So, but again, to you, you could simply add things for your calendar right here. You can do all of this if you actually open your calendar. If you were to open it up through your Chrome, you can do all of it. But if you want, you could do it through there. Looks like they're going to change it though, soon to be unpublished. So who knows? One tab is one that I just love. It makes my heart go pitter pat because I am a tab person. You've probably noticed how many times I've closed tabs during this. Normally, I'm not that diligent when I'm closing. I only do it when I'm running these presentations so it doesn't get so crowded up there and make it look confusing when you're looking at my desktop. Normally, by the end of a workday, I've got like 50, 60 tabs open because I never close anything and I'm a tab maniac. So I love one tab, which looks like this, by the way. And what it does is if you select it, it's right here. If I were to click it now, it would take the 3 open tabs I have and pull them into this one tab. And then it would create me a new entry right here above the 10 tabs that would say 3 tabs, the date that I did it, and then it would list what the tabs are. What I like about this is it then keeps a record of all of my tab closures. So when I'm doing this, I actually can be like, remember that day and I was looking for a thing and it was this, and then I can't find it. I can scroll through here and be like, oh, it was whatever, this thing that I was looking for, and I can click on it from here. You can click on any of these. These are live links and they will open up into a new tab for you. And you can at any time restore the entire list of tabs that are below or delete or share them with other people. So it's so user-friendly. And like I said, it helps keep it under control for me because the reason I don't close them because I always feel like I'm going to use them for something else. So that's why I leave them open. And this gives me the ability to keep it neat and tidy and still have access to them. So love, love, love. Cannot say enough good things about one tab if you were like that. Text mode, this one right here. All right, 11 minutes left. I got to pick up the pace here. Text mode, I'm just going to tell you about that one. Text mode, what it does, if you go to a page that has images and banner ads and all sorts of yucky things that are distracting when you want to read the content on a page, if you click on text mode, which just looks like a T for the letter text, I find it, there it is. If you click on text mode, it takes all of the graphics away, including images. So if you need an image with an article, don't use this. But if you just want the text on the page, click this. It will erase all of the graphics and leave you with just a black and white text page. Sometimes it's so helpful when I just need to read the information and not be distracted. So it's a good one to use for that. YouTube ad block. If you use YouTube in a browser, you can install the ad block, and what it does is it will limit the number of ads. I say limit, it's called ad block. It should not be called ad block. It should be called ad limit. It's not 100%. It does not block everything. What it does do, I've noticed, is prevent those ads that pop up before. So you have to wait until it says you can skip the ads to get to your content, which drives me crazy. Like, it just drives me batty. So it usually blocks most of those. It does not, I've noticed, block the ones that are in the middle. If somebody has locked an ad in the middle of those, usually those don't get blocked. The things that pop up on the screen that are ads, those do get blocked. So it's kind of hit or miss, but it helps. When I use YouTube on my laptop, it is a lot better than when I use it on my phone where I cannot install the ad blocker. So definitely a big fan of the YouTube ad block. And then weather, if you just like to have the weather on hand. I get weather from a bunch of sources. Now that I'm working from home, I usually ask my Friendly Neighborhood Alexa device. And yes, I spelled that because if I said it, she would respond to me. So I just spelled you her name. I usually just ask her for weather, but you can get that. So it will actually have an icon in your, right here on your tab. So you can see what your current weather is, if that's your thing. There's a million of them. The one that I picked on, there's the basic one called weather. But if you are a weather nerd, and I know that you guys are out there, you can find plenty that will do cool things with weather. Just for fun, we have a few in here that I want to touch on. Custom cursor is just what it sounds like. If you get sick of looking at this little arrow, you can use the custom cursor. I think I can show you this one pretty quickly. I'm gonna click on it, and you can change your cursor to look like any one of a million other things. So you can change it for Easter coming up and have that be your cursor. So you just select the one you want, hit upload cursor, and it'll pop in your device. So if that's your sort of thing, plenty of fun things you can do there. Earth View from Google Earth is one of my favorites. You've actually seen it already. When I open a new tab, what it does is it gives me this cool background, and that is not a wallpaper. It is actually a real Earth view from the Google Earth app. So it's telling me where it's from. This is from the Tuamotus Islands, which are in French Polynesia. So the Earth view of this particular place on Earth. Every new tab gives you a new picture, which is very, very cool. You can also, let me pop this up out of here. You can usually click, maybe I have to go over here now. Yep, there it is. You used to be able to hover and do that, but now it's that little icon to see the ones that you have gotten recently. If you were just curious, they just make cool backgrounds and wallpapers. They're just for fun, but I like seeing what the world looks like from a wide out lens. So it makes for a neat one. Midnight Lizard I mentioned earlier, and Midnight Lizard is the one that looks like a lizard. There it is. What it does is it gives you the ability to change your theme of your computer beyond what computers do. So if you want to change your background screen, your buttons, your cursors, the text, you want to change the colors, you can do that with I remember computers used to have a lot more control over that, where you could change everything and it was like, you know, wild and wacky if you like that sort of thing. You can add images, etc. So you can come in here and play with it and create your own custom scheme for your computer. So fun one to do if you are a creative sort. Teleparty, which is formerly Netflix Party, but is now Teleparty. What this does is it gives you the ability to watch television with your friends and family. So it used to be Netflix Party, but it's now expanded to include Hulu, HBO Plus, Disney Plus, and Netflix. I think it's those four. So any of those four streaming services, if you have an account and say your best friend who lives in California has an account and the two of you want to do a rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and you want to watch them together, you can actually set up a teleparty, both logging in on your own device, both having the teleparty installed. And what it will do is when you select start the teleparty and you're both logged in, it'll start the show exactly at the same time for both of you who are watching it at the exact same second. So there's no one's ahead or behind. If one of you pauses, it pauses for both of you, etc. So it's just a way to watch with people who are not in the same room as you. So kind of cool. Super Netflix gives you the ability to change some features of Netflix that Netflix doesn't necessarily allow you to do. Let me show you that one real quick. Super Netflix lets you choose the bit rate that it will play at, automatically skip the intro. Netflix is getting better about this, but still not good enough. There are too many shows where I find myself sitting there for 30 seconds watching an intro, which drives me crazy. Or the blurring. So if you've ever looked at the episode descriptions and then seen the return of, you know, so-and-so character, and you're like, what? They just died last season. That kind of thing. It will blur those out so you actually can't see that, and those aren't spoiled for you. So just a few additional features that you wouldn't normally get from Netflix otherwise in my just for fun category. 4 minutes left. These are some of the ones that are from the extensions list that I just thought were worth showing you, that I think you could take a look at. I'm going to mention the Mark tab manager, which I have installed. That's what's causing my tabs to jump around. What it's doing is it's giving me groupings. So it keeps this is a Google Doc, this is a Google slide deck. So it keeps them together. This is my Gmail. So it's going to stay in the same group, and then my internet ones. And then if I'm doing a web search, it pops it over to the beginning. So I'm not scrolling through looking for tabs. It just, again, if you're a heavy tab user like I am, I find it to be very helpful to have them kept where kept in a useful manner, I suppose. Other things that are interesting, and I don't know if it's all of them that are on here. I think it is most of them, but I don't know for sure. I wasn't that close looking at it that closely, but feel free to take a look at any of these. Oh, unshortened.link, that is the opposite of Bitly. If you ever get somebody who sends you a Bitly link or any other, there are a few different link shorteners out there, and you actually want to see the full length that it came from. Sometimes there's information that is contained in those that is helpful. You can unshorten it using that extension as well. So again, worth taking a look at. Upcoming events. If you enjoyed this Learnabout presentation and you would like more, we are going to be talking about Google Forms on April 11th, Google Sites on May 9th. We're doing these about once a month, and you can visit metrolibraries.net events and programs. So that's my company's website, our events and programs page, and you can register right there from that page if you are interested in attending those events. If you have questions, now would be a good time. I'm going to take a look at the chat from here. If you have a moment, please take a look at that evaluation link and fill that out. That would be so helpful for me. My boss really likes that when I get feedback. So again, that is bit.ly/learnabout-Chrome extensions. Learn about Chrome extensions, all one word, is where you'll find that survey. Meanwhile, Q&A. Nothing in there. Let's take a look at the chat. What if you click? Let's go back up here. Slides will be shared. Yes. Darlene said she was not seeing anything. She sees it now. Okay. Can you only use this with Gmail? You must have been talking about Boomerang. Yes, Karen, Boomerang is only a Gmail thing. There are, however, similar extensions that you can find for different email servers. I obviously was looking for Gmail because I'm in a Chrome world here. So Connie asked, do you find that having a lot of extensions active slows down the browser loading? You know what, Connie, I don't think that it affects the browser loading so much. What I do think from time to time is that some things don't act appropriately because there's so much that is acting upon them. So I think that sometimes that gets a little crazy. Darlene just said, can I put that extension link? I cannot copy it, but that's okay. I will literally type it in there for you. Extensions, I gotta spell that right. Learn about Chrome extensions. Boom, there we go. Melissa says there's a problem with the form. I will take a look at that if you guys will just give me a couple minutes after the end of this presentation to do that. I appreciate that. I want to I know we're at 5 o'clock and I don't want to hold you too long. I just want to make sure that I've gotten through all of these. Can you save any of these extensions to other browsers? No, Bob, most of these are specific to Google Chrome. They were created for use within the Chrome browser. Do they need to be added to both Chrome and Chrome Incognito? Oh, great question, Wendy. A lot of these will not work on Chrome Incognito because of the way that Incognito functions. So you may have to try that. If it does work on both, if it is available to work on Incognito, you should not have to add it. So if it doesn't work, you could try it, but most likely it just won't work, is how that will work. Love LastPass. LastPass makes me nervous, as Bob. What if I got hacked? You know, Bob, that's the risk I think we all take, but they put a lot of security on that to make sure that it is really, really tough to hack. I can't obviously promise you that it will never happen, but it's really more secure than saving them on your own computer, certainly more secure than writing them down in a little folder that you keep next to your computer. So I would say give it a try. And if you are too concerned, don't put your super secret passwords like your bank password in there. Just do the ones that are passwords to things like your, I don't even know, the things that are just not important because we have to have passwords for everything. You could try that. Evaluation I did, and which last one was the tab saver extension? One tab is the one that saves all of the tabs. One tab is that one. Okay, that is all of them real quickly. You're welcome, John. I'm going to close out the chat real quick and then just show you the slide deck. bit.ly Learnabout extension slides. If you would like access to this slide deck, Learnabout extension slides. I'm going to type that one into the chat as well, just to save Darlene the trouble of having to ask. I will help her out with that. bit.ly/Learnabout extension slides. Boom. That is where you can access this slide deck. Please feel free to use those. The recording will be on that events and program page that you saw where we could register. That is my contact info. If you have questions for me, please send me an email. Questions, comments, anything about this presentation, I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and contact me at any time. And ladies and gentlemen, at 5:02, we have gone over. I apologize for that, but that is that. We are done. Thank you so much for visiting. I hope you guys learned something today, and I'm gonna go take a look at that evaluation. Give me just like 2 more minutes and I'll have it all fixed for you guys to fill out for me. Thanks so much.